Alright guys, this tutorial I'm going to show you how to do custom cloth mesh importing using Schnick's meshy import script for Frosty. So first, again, like the last tutorial, I'm not going to teach you how to rig or anything. And if you haven't watched the first tutorial on how to use the import script, go ahead and watch that first. It shows you the basics. This tutorial assumes that you know how to use the script tool already. So first, have your mesh set up, have it all rigged. So for cloth mesh imports, it doesn't matter how you have it rigged. So when I turn on the pose, you can see I have them rigged already. Not the cleanest, but that's okay. In the end, it wraps around the base mesh that you're importing over, which I'll explain that here in a second. So to get cloth mesh to look best in game, it has to be relatively the same shape and location as the mesh you're importing over. Now, you can, like example, Darth Maul only has a skirt. However, you can import cape related meshes over Darth Maul's skirt by using cloth assets from another character with a cape. I will go over that here in just a minute. In this instance, this is going to be a skirt, and I'm going to use Darth Maul's skirt as a base cloth wrap asset. So, to make sure it's lined up the right way, I'm going to import his skirt file. I already have it from an old project, so here we go. Now let me get it sized up the right way. Just a moment here. And let me delete a bunch of the LODs that I don't need. Find the smallest one. This should be it. Okay, so the white is Darth Maul's cloth mesh. Now, I'm going to hide everything else, all the Ahsoka parts. So the way it works, the mesh here, my custom mesh, has to be in the relatively same area as the cloth mesh I'm importing over. So in this case, this piece of the skirt should work fine. See, it overlaps this part of Darth Maul's skirt, which means that when this skirt's supposed to move, this one will move with it. Like, it's almost as if the cloth mesh is its own skeleton and you're almost rigging this mesh to this skeleton automatically. So you want, again, it's really important to make sure that your custom cloth mesh is lined up with the cloth mesh you're importing over, or the results will not look great. In this case, mine looks pretty decent. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's close enough, and it should work fine. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the Darth Maul skirt. Okay, now this is all rigged and ready to go. Like I said in the last tutorial, make sure locations are set at 0, scales are at 1, rotation X is at 90. Make sure there's only one material set up on the object. Then I can export as FBX. I'm going to call it skirt. Okay. So then I'm going to open Frosty. I already have the project file set up from the last tutorial of the main mesh set. Now to get cloth mesh import set up, you need a couple different files than like a normal mesh. So you go into the Res Explorer. In this case, Ray has 2 cloth meshes that I can use. I'm going to do her skirt right mesh. So if I look at the skirt right, you can see that it looks nothing like a normal skirt. It's only a half of one. So in this instant, if I tried to rig, just use the cloth wrapping assets and import normally using just her skirt, not Darth Maul's skirt, it would not work the right way because the shape is vastly different than my custom mesh. So in the Res Explorer, you find the file they want, the cloth mesh that they want to replace. Go to the main costume file. We're doing the skirt right, so you need the cloth wrapping asset in the skirt right mesh. I'm going to export. You're going to create a new sample folder, so I'm going to call it Ray R skirt set. So now I know all her mesh set files are going to go in here. So cloth wrapping asset, skirt right mesh, and then you click on the cloth one, skirt right EA cloth. You need that one, and then the blocks file from the skirt right mesh. Okay, so then after that, let me pull up that folder real quick. For cloth meshes, you need to be sure you have the blocks, cloth wrapping asset, EA cloth, and the normal mesh set file. Okay, after that, if you already have the project file open, it won't refresh automatically, so I'm just going to open the file. There we go. We got the skirt set. So it's just like normal mesh importing. You click on the check mark, you select your FBX skirt. In this case, the skirt mesh name was, to figure that out, you expand the object here, Flappy. I'm going to click Flappy, and then set your LODs. For cloth mesh, I like to keep them pretty high for like the first 2 or 3, and then I'll slowly bring them down a little bit just so that they look pretty decent on the results screen after a match. And then now if you were just importing like a cape over Darth Vader's cape, this is when you can hit convert. If I was doing a skirt the same size as Rey's skirt, I hit convert. However, since I am changing and using a different shape skirt over Rey, and mine is based off of Darth Maul, I need a few extra files to make it work with Darth Maul's cloth physics. So I'm going to open up Frosty, and I'm going to find Darth Maul's cloth file. So I need the same files I needed before: the cloth wrapping asset, the mesh, the EA mesh, and the blocks file. So I'm going to export these again in the new mesh set folder. So Maul skirt set. Put these in their own folder: the cloth wrapping asset, the skirt mesh, the skirt EA cloth. Oh, nope, I'm not importing, I am exporting. Skirt EA cloth, and the blocks folder. I'm going to double check that folder, make sure I have the 4 files: blocks, cloth wrapping, EA cloth, mesh set, which I do. So I'm going to go back to the script. I'm going to refresh by opening the project again. Now you should see Maul's skirt set. I am not hitting the check mark here. I'm going to hit the t-shirt file, or the t-shirt icon, and select Maul skirt set. Now it turns white, which is good. So now when I convert, it's going to use Darth Maul's cloth settings in a way to convert it the right way. Okay? And so then I hit convert. The cloth wrapping takes a little bit longer to convert than normal ones. And then there we go. So now when you open the output folder, you're going to see you don't have the chunk files this time. That's okay. You don't need them for the cloth wrapping. All you need are these files. So you're going to replace these files in the chunk and res explorer. So I'm going to go back, search for Rey. So I did the right cloth. So I'm going to import right EA cloth, make sure it's output folder, and then the blocks, and then the cloth wrapping assets, and then the mesh sets. So blocks, EA cloth, mesh set, cloth wrapping asset. Now if I click on the mesh again, there we go. There's my custom mesh. Again, I haven't replaced the textures, but it should work just fine in game. That's it for cloth wrapping. Enjoy.